Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch Want and thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the Blancpain 50 Fathoms 45mm in brushed stainless steel. You can see this Blancpain 50 Fathoms on our website watchyouwant.com. Purchase it if you like, and if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now you can see on my wrist 16 centimeters 6.3 inches in circumference. The Blancpain 50 Fathoms is very much the modern sports watch, built in the image of the 1953 original that defined the modern dive watch. The 2007 to present variant is not only the Cadillac of dive watches, but it's sized to suit. 45mm across the round of the case. It's a substantial 15.5mm thick and 56mm from extremity of lug to opposite extremity. Now it doesn't quite sit 15mm high on the wrist thanks to a cupped case back. It actually nestles down and only sits about 13mm to the top of the bezel, at which point a cuff can easily slide up over the sapphire. So this watch is actually quite compatible with sport cuffs, dress jackets, blazers, things of that type. Not so much the tightest of dress cuffs, but after all, it is a dive watch. Now you can see that the watch features underslung lugs, and that's a big part of the ergonomic equation here that makes this watch, though firmly in the class of something like a Rolex Deep Sea or an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore 44, wear like a smaller timepiece. You can see that the lugs feature underslung pivot points so that the bracelet is actually attached at points far closer together than 56mm across. Moreover, unlike many conforming end-piece bracelets, this one has no tendency to flare outward at the lugs, so it doesn't fight the curve of your wrist. It'll pull down and around, it'll easily fit. Now, if you do have a tree trunk wrist, one of those truly huge forearms, believe me, this watch is big enough to suit you. I want to reassure those whose wrists are more along the lines of my own that this will also suit them. Now, Blancpain's X71 bracelet is a true living legend. Beautifully built, it's also a beautiful fit. You can see how the piece is actually interlock for an incredible manufacturing tolerance, and on the underside you can see the evacuation, the channeling between the links of the bracelet that allow it to avoid pinching skin and pulling hair. Now it has tons of flexibility built in, very silky, but what sets it apart from other high-quality dive bracelets is that the clasp is in another league, and I do mean another league. This double deployant features a leaf spring very much along the lines of what Richard Mille has used in recent years. Now you can see the leaf spring mechanism and the twin-fold deployant makes this a lot easier on a smaller wrist than, for instance, a single up and over single fold deployant. The inset JB initials speak to the quality and attention to detail, while the leaf spring itself allows this bracelet to close with positive force, and it actually keeps itself secure with no additional assistance, but nevertheless it features a robust locking fold over, so it has both positive closure thanks to the spring as well as clamshell action, and a wonderfully low profile when closed. This isn't going to do the desk diving damage that you'll see on something like a milled out Rolex or Omega dive watch clasp. Now it is the case and the dial that set this watch apart. The case is beautifully finished with screw-fixed lugs, so this watch being extremely substantial in every sense, it's not going to get yanked off delicate spring bars. Blancpain uses the more expensive screw-fixed lugs. Harder to make a case this way, again more expensive to do it right, but there really is no alternative on a watch of this caliber, and believe me, it speaks to the quality of materials and engineering that goes into it. You can see the beautifully muted finish sets it apart a little bit from the standard black dial 50-15 50 Fathoms, because the fully brushed finish is a little bit at contrast with the Baroque style of the dial. Not polished like the standard watch, this one's actually a little bit more discreet from two paces. You can see how the brushed finish tones down the glare of the light off the metal and gives this one a nice upscale refined look. You can also see how the incredible interplay of the sapphire cap of the bezel over its beautiful blue base creates the appearance of depth, of magnification, a wonderful homage to the acrylic capped originals. This one has the added benefit of being almost completely scratch resistant, just like the sapphire at center. That durability allows Blancpain to include a fully loomed bezel base, so the entire watch face, not just the hands and indices, but all calibrations of the bezel light up. And it is cambered, so it has a domed effect. It has a magnifying effect that you don't find on flat sapphires like those that have been fitted to dive watches by Bremont and IWC in the past. Now you can see the dial itself. Full guilloche with a blue lacquer is a beautiful composition. Rose lathe work at center, that billowy radial pattern explodes outward to a brushed and grained metallic hour track. All of the hands and applied and fully loomed numerals and indices are white gold. And then just outboard of that, there's a minute track featuring a florid, undulating guillot-shaped pattern for extra distinction. Now the watch features Blancpain's exclusive caliber 1315. Now it is inside a solid caseback. You can see it has a inner soft iron core for anti-magnetic properties, 300 meters, 1,000 foot water resistance, and all that protection keeps the 120-hour power reserve, 35 joule, 227 piece automatic winding movement safe and secure, no matter how rough you do get when you're wearing this watch. The nice thing about the movement is that it was designed with sports use in mind. So whereas the pre-2007 Blancpain 50 Fathoms more often than not used beautiful but somewhat delicate Frederic Piguet ultra-thin movements, Piguet and Blancpain designed the 1315 to be Rolex tough with a free-sprung balance, abundant thickness so that it's not too thin for its own good, but it's also not too thick for your own good, and at the same time giving it that huge power reserve and autonomy, so if you do have other watches in your collection, you can cycle this one through a rotation without having to worry about it running down in the meantime. Featuring hacking seconds for precise setting as well as a quick set date, it incorporates all the modern conveniences. You can see this rich, regal, and distinctive Blancpain 50 Fathoms brushed stainless steel with blue Flinke dial on our website, watchyouwant.com.